Hey, so I'm here to do a little bio of my life. Originally, I don't think I've ever done this. I've done bits and pieces through my YouTube videos, but Marco Robinson offered me to come on stage with him in July. And I'm pretty excited to do a speech and to kind of tell my story and what I've learned along the way. So I told him I might as well do a video because I've had such a crazy kind of life, and I probably will miss a lot of key points still because there's so much to remember, but I'm going to try to cut it short as I can so you guys can kind of get an outline of my struggles through my life, all the trauma I've seen and been through, and how I got through it, and how it kind of turned me into who I am now. So basically, as a child, I was a pretty happy child overall. It wasn't until I moved and grew up in Colorado where I realized as a young girl I would get picked on a lot. Some reason girls would always bully me. Surprisingly, right? I mean, you see my Instagram now and you're probably like, she got bullied. No, seriously, I got really bullied at a young age, and it was kind of traumatizing. So it kind of made me an introvert. I kept to myself a lot. I was pretty shy, I would say, and I guess I still am shy sometimes right now. um, yeah, so anyways, I got bullied a lot. And as I got older, I had some family issues. My dad had some anger issues, a lot of anger issues. He's better now, thank goodness, but at his younger age, I encountered my parents arguing a lot, him disrespecting my mom. And as I got older, I grew into a teenager. That disconnect from him because I didn't see him as a man, I guess is the best way to say it. I'm trying to watch my words because I don't want to disrespect him. I love my dad as much. Me and him are best friends now. It's just growing up, you're a kid, you're a teenager, you see things differently, you don't understand how hard marriage can be, and it's hard when your father has a temper. So as a teenager, I went through really deep depression, lots of fights with my parents because of their issues, because of his anger. I lost respect for both of them because of those anger arguments I would see growing up as a teenager. I ran away a lot, and I think because of the depression, because of that pain as a teenager, it almost changed me at that time. I fell in deeper and deeper as time went on. I started hanging out with older crowds, started drinking, smoking, doing drugs at a very young age. I think I started smoking cigarettes in 5th grade. You can see where the pain started at a very young age from seeing that pain from my parents' marriage not being the healthiest. I took it in myself, and I didn't know how to get rid of it, and I didn't know, I was too shy. And as a child, you see that and you start to take the blame, you don't understand. So at a very young age, I started to grow up, I guess you would say, because I felt like I was dealing with real adult situations when I was home, seeing them fight, seeing them argue, seeing the relationship not like it should be as parents. And I started feeling not loved. I started feeling disconnected. I started feeling alone. And on top of the bullying at school, I started hanging out with older crowds, dating older boys. And what did that do? That just made me more of an adult at a young age. So I felt like I didn't really get experience all the childhood years like I should have, because of dealing with such adult emotions I was dealing with on a daily basis. From there, As I got a little older, I think my first traumatizing event, mainly, I guess, would be, let's see, I think eighth or ninth grade, if I'm remembering correctly, was when I experienced my first real traumatized. No, let's push it back. Eighth grade. This is before that one. Eighth grade. My sister's best friend, Brittany Chambers. It was all over the news. I don't know if a lot of you remember or not. She passed away on ecstasy. My older sister, a couple years older, and it is very traumatizing. It was all over the news. There's charges getting pressed. My sister was involved and took it with her, so there was a lot of focus on our family at the time. And Brittany was only 16 years old at the time. There was a lot going on, so that was very hard on our family. It broke us up even more. So eighth grade is kind of when I started dressing in all black. I started cutting my wrists. To be honest, I've never really even told anyone that. I grew up from eighth grade on through high school cutting myself because of the pain I was experiencing was so real. I wanted to let it out. So a lot of teenagers, I don't know if you're watching this and you are a teenager and you're cutting, that's a whole nother video I will definitely cover someday because it's important to know it doesn't help you. It just leaves scars. I still have this, to this day, have scars up and down my arm, and that's why this whole arm's tatted, because I needed to cover it and wanted to cover it with something beautiful instead of scars. What a horrible mistake that was. But anyways, then from there on, for some reason in my life, I've always attracted death, and I hate to put it that way, but that's kind of how it felt from every single since eighth grade, year after year after year after year. I would have so many friends pass away, suicides, cancer, relatives, just really people close to me passing away, like 2, 3 at a time each year. So as you know, the pain just got deeper and deeper and deeper as high school went on. And I felt so disconnected because my parents were still dealing with that anger issue that they've been dealing with their whole lives. So all in all, my childhood wasn't much to it because I grew up so fast and I started partying. I started just abusing my body because I had so much pain. And I think that's probably when my cancer cells started growing because I was not taking care of myself. I was depressed. I was upset. I didn't want to live. I kept a diary every day telling myself I wanted to die. Years and years of this, okay? And it just grew. It got worse and worse and worse. When I turned 19 after high school, I decided I need to get out of there. So I moved to California. I packed my little SUV up and I said, peace, Mom and Dad, with $1,000 in my bank. They told me, if you leave, you're on your own, basically. You know, you're not going to make it. They told me 100 times, you're not going to make it in LA. They did not want me moving to LA. They grew up in LA, and they, of course, didn't want their daughter going back to LA. And they didn't want that, which I see why, of course, now. Of course, it's a crazy place. Not a good place for a little girl to be. But I packed up my cars, packed up my 2 doggies, and drove my ass to LA when I was 19. Got into college, did fashion design at FDIM in downtown LA. And I struggled. I struggled for years and years and years out in LA because I never wanted to call my parents and say I wasn't making it. There's so many times where I wanted to come home. There's so many times where I didn't know how I was going to put food on the table. I didn't know how I was going to pay rent. There's so many jobs and things I had to do to make it, to survive LA, that I'm not proud of. And I'm not even going to go down that route with what I had to do. But I had to hustle to the extreme and do degrading jobs, do degrading things just to pay my rent, just to make my way through college, just to survive LA. And LA is like a whole a whole nother video, because it is not all glamorous like they make it sound to be, like Hollywood, you know. It is not glamorous at all. LA is scary, especially if you come from Colorado and you're trustworthy. I moved out here and I was so trusting in everyone, and I got jaded real fast. I realized how many people screwed me over so fast, and how you have to watch your back out here. You can't trust anyone. And that was really tough on me, because in Colorado everyone's so nice. They say hi to you on the streets. You can leave your car unlocked in Colorado, okay? You don't have to worry about your house getting robbed. You don't have to worry about you getting robbed or raped. There's so many scenarios that I had to deal with living in LA. So many stories is that I was like, I could probably do 1,000 videos on little things that has happened to me through the years in LA. Seen bank robberies. I have friends that went to jail that I made friends with out here and not knowing they were gang related. I seen one of my girlfriends raped right in front of me. I've lived in horrible places: K-Town, downtown LA, San Gabriel, Montebello. I've lived all over the place and had to live in some shitty areas because I could not afford the nicer areas. So you name it, I've seen it, and it grew my ass up real fast. 19 years old, and I saw the world in a crazy new point of view, and it scared the shit out of me. But for some reason, because my dad told me, you're not gonna make it in LA, watch, you'll be back. And because I was already had a lot of anger towards him, right? First of all, I would never wanted to go back to that environment because I didn't want to be near him. Sorry, Dad, I love you to death, but it was kind of toxic. And second of all, I've always wanted to show him, hey, look, I made it. And over the years, I had to lie to them, making them feel like, oh, she's doing fine. Oh, yeah, Mom and Dad, everything's fine, just enjoying Hollywood, and totally lying over the years. And it was a struggle, okay? So out of those horrible jobs, were a very degrading job I had to do to survive, I met my ex-husband in a shitty, excuse my language, in a horrible place. That is not somewhere you should meet a man, but I met a man there. Fell in love with him because I was so desperate for that love and affection, and he was a smart man. He made me feel loved. He made me feel protected from the world. And I felt so unprotected for the longest time. I didn't have that shelter, that someone that made me feel safe. And he did that real fast. And once I started falling in love with him, started dating for quite a while, slowly red flags came out. But I looked past them because I still was looking for that comfort he gave me in certain spots that I really needed. Being young and naive and not having much self-love at all, zero self-love actually, is how I got stuck marrying the guy, which was a horrible idea. But again, I had no self-love, and he filled some voids. That marriage destroyed me because he ended up being extremely abusive. He ended up being emotionally abusive, physically, put a knife to my throat, hung me over this second story floor in our house, pinned me against the wall multiple times with his hand around my throat, destroyed my clothing, anything I possessed. Every single fight, he would rip up, destroy the house. How many times have the cops came, arrested him, and didn't do anything about it? It was a traumatizing 1 year I was married to him. And I felt alone. I felt scared. I didn't think I could. Every time I would try to leave him, I was scared for my life. I didn't think I was going to make it through that marriage, and I told a lot of people towards the end, gave them letters saying if something happens to me, he did it. I had to write emails to myself and tell my parents send out my password to people and let them know something ever happens to me, check my email. It's crazy. So when it comes to women being abused and being stuck in these scenarios, I know exactly what they've been through. And I always told myself I could never be that woman. I could never. How could you let a man treat you like that? And then I ended up being one of those abused, battered women. And it makes me sick to this day because I love myself so much now because of that marriage. Because of that heartache, I found myself along the way. So fast forward, after all the abuse, what ended that marriage a year later was when he had an affair with our employee that was 17 years old. And I finally had the guts to leave him. I had no choice. He left me after he had an affair. And I hit rock bottom. Not only being abused, mentally abused, no self-love, him talking down on me on a daily basis, taking every worth I had in me, to find out he betrayed me with someone I hired for our business at the time, made me sick. I fell in the deepest depression with that divorce for months. I had to try to find my own place. I was low on money because he made me very dependent on him, which abusers do. They make you very dependent on them, so you can't leave them. So you don't have the money to leave them, or don't have enough love for yourself because you're so traumatized from the relationship, so you don't have the confidence to leave them. So ladies, I can relate to you 100%, and I would love to help women in this department because I can go on forever with this, okay? Anyways, I actually couldn't eat, I couldn't sleep, crying nonstop, curled up in a ball on the floor for months. I couldn't take care of myself. I was traumatized and trying to figure out how am I gonna get my life normal, for once in my entire life. And I actually, from that marriage, during that divorce, I actually almost killed myself. The pain from childhood to there just kept adding up. And it wasn't until the day where I literally was in a closet with a belt around my neck, and I've never told anyone this ever, except my boyfriend right now, that I was about to do it. I was done. I wrote my letters. I thought it through for a long time. I was at rock bottom beyond belief. And then my little dog walked into the room, my little Chihuahua, and she saved my life. She saved my life. I looked at her, and I was literally about to do it. I had it all ready. She walked in the perfect timing and looked at me like, "What you doing, Mom? What you doing, Mom?" And I jumped down real quick. I took that belt off my neck, and I was just start hugging her and crying and telling her thank you. I still have my Chihuahua to this day. She is old. She's 16 years old too, and I brought her from Colorado as well. She has been my little angel. From there, I discovered self-love. I read books. I looked up advice. I looked up every self-help book you can imagine online. I did what I had to do to find myself again, and I found a little house. I moved my dogs. At that time, I had 3 dogs now, so I moved my 3 dogs and me into a house in a safe neighborhood. Finally, I decided, you know what? I'm gonna pay that extra money, and I'm gonna be in a safe neighborhood, a nice neighborhood, and I'm gonna start my life over. And I did. I did everything I could to discover myself again. And self-love, I can't express this enough, how important finding yourself. I went through a journey, it probably took me 2 years to truly rediscover myself, rebuild my life, rebuild my confidence, rebuild my love for myself, rebuild my hustle. Get so proud of my damn self for going through all that trauma. It was rough. It was rough, okay? And yeah. But I did, and I'm still learning to this day. Every single day I am online, I'm reading books, I'm listening to audio books, and I am building myself. It's a daily practice, because the day you stop doing that, guarantee your life's gonna start backtracking. Those painful days don't just go away as much as you want it. It doesn't matter how much therapy you did. I have done so much therapy over the years, and God bless my therapist's heart. She is amazing. She's in Pasadena if anyone wants to talk to her. She's truly amazing. But you're going to always have those wounds, you know? I have forgiven my ex-husband because I needed to move on for myself. I have forgiven my past, my parents for their problems. And nowadays, I actually help my parents understand each other. I am their little therapist, and I understand where they're coming from now because I'm a lot older. My dad has such better anger issues. He's still got a little temper, but he is so much better nowadays. And I actually love being around them. I talk to them every single day. I make that effort now on a daily basis to only do positive things. So let's move on a little bit from discovering myself. 2016, I got sepsis. Don't ask how. I was really sick for months and months, and I ended up having sepsis, which is blood poisoning from, gosh, what was it? Strep. I had the strep and the other thing you can catch in hospitals. I can't even think. It's been so long. Anyways, I almost died from that. I was stuck in the hospital for a month. They did emergency surgery, removed part of my hip tissue, a lot of my hip tissue, because it was like stationed under my hip bone. They were terrified I was going to lose my leg. I barely made it to the hospital. One day I woke up with a crazy fever. I was fainting. I couldn't figure out what was wrong with me. I called the doctor. They took me to the hospital. They ran my tests and they were freaking out. We don't know we think you have blood poisoning or something, and turns out it was sepsis. And that was a scary time in my life, and that was the first near-death experience because I didn't know what was going to happen. I felt weak. I didn't know. Oh, staph infection. That's what it was, staph infection. Somehow I got staph for months and had no idea. I thought I just had the flu, and it turned into sepsis, which is blood poisoning. All my organs were shutting down when I got to the hospital. I barely made it out alive, and I was in there for a month. My mom came out, stayed with me every single day. She slept right next to me. Oh, she's amazing. Oh, it makes me want to cry. I love her so much. When I had to go through all that in the hospital, stuck in a hospital, not being able to see outside for a month, man, does it make you appreciate life. Man, it makes you appreciate having your own bed, having some normal food. It makes you appreciate so much. And when I got out of that hospital, I came out ready to fight. I was so happy to be released, and I was so happy to have my life back, and I did not take anything for granted since then. And I grew myself even more after that because I didn't want to take anyone in my life for granted. I told everyone that I've ever felt like I might have done wrong in the past, so sorry. Like, I don't want to ever die and not feel like I didn't live my life to the fullest, or I don't want regrets. So to this day, because of that, I live still like that to this day, and I appreciate that experience because I don't take anything for granted, and you never know about tomorrow. It wasn't until August 2018, August 27th is when the day I found out I had cervical cancer. I had a lot of symptoms. I was on and off having nausea and wasn't feeling good and just kind of weird things for months. I didn't have my period for months, and I was just like, what is going on with me? It wasn't until then, after months of doctor testing and testing and testing and what's going on with you, what they kept telling me, come back, you're fine, come back, it's probably stressed, blah blah blah, come back. It wasn't until months later they found out I had cervical cancer, stage 3. And when I heard that, I was really thinking like I might not make that. And that was the first thing that came to my head. When you hear stage 3 cervical cancer, you're thinking that, well, you're screwed, you know? Like, what? I'm not going to tell you my age, but I'm still very young, and I was just like, what? My age? Like, how? I'm healthy, I'm a vegan, I've been a vegan my whole life, and I take care of myself, and I love myself, and I don't drink, I don't do drugs, you know, like, what, why, like, I don't understand. So yeah, I went through crazy past few months, and after a couple days of finding out, I woke up one morning and I realized, you know what, I gotta make the best out of this. There's nothing else I can do. I mean, I spent 2 days crying, and then I realized, what am I crying about? I have a huge opportunity with my social media, with all my followers. This is my chance to spread awareness. This is my chance. And I woke up one day with this idea in my head, like, the universe wants you to spread your awareness, to tell people your story. So literally, within a couple of days of finding out, I came and I told the world what was going on. And of course, dealing with all the reactions, all your family, telling my family, that was really tough. It was There's a whole nother video about the cancer, and I've done a few on YouTube if you haven't watched, about the journey so far. So every day is an interesting battle when it comes to that. I have to change my life 100%. I had to do keto vegan. I literally have intermediate fasting every single day. The amount of supplements I take on a daily basis, I had to literally change my life nutrition-wise, because after I did the surgery, they took half the cervix out. They left half because I really want to be a mom. And so that was the best they can do. So they couldn't remove all of it because I want to be a mom. So we took the safest route and removed half the cervix, so to at least let it heal and see where it goes from there. So I am still, to this day, fighting the cancer cells. But with changing my life, changing my diet, changing everything, absolutely everything, and self-love, don't be around anything toxic. I don't drink. I only drink water. I am so healthy now, and I take care of myself, work out every day. Like, think positive, and believe the universe is there for you. So I am beyond spiritual. I meditate, I do yoga, I detox, sauna. I do everything I can to heal myself, and it's gonna take time. The cancer cells don't just go away, but I'm happy to say that I've brought it down to 2 level grades of where it was. Natural route. I do not want to do chemo, and I do not want to do radiation, and that is a whole another video because of all the research I do on a daily basis on cancer and how to treat cancer naturally, because I'm big on natural healing, and that's my choice. But from all this, I'm stronger, and I want to help heal. I want to help others, and I want to bring awareness. Ladies, you gotta get your pap smears. This can save your life. And if you wait too long, like I did, I waited 2 years when I was supposed to go in every 6 months because I've always had abnormal pap smears. This is something I want to bring awareness to, and I'm going to use it the best I can. I'm not going to cry about the cancer, and I'm not scared of death because I've experienced so much death in my life, from people I've loved passing away, over the years, I'm not scared of it. And that's why I think a lot of people are wondering, like, how are you not scared? How are you handling this so well? Well, I'm not scared of death. And I feel like when your time is here, it's here. There's nothing you can do. So that's why I don't take any day for granted. I always have a positive thought as much as I can, and anything bad that happens to you, you gotta make the best out of it. So that is why I'm making the best out of this cancer. That's why I made the best out of my abusive ex-husband. That is why I want to help others get through hear my story. So hopefully they can take a piece here and there from it and maybe find themselves and love themselves and take care of yourself. All the pain through all the years, I truly believe that contributed to my cancer cells multiplying. Supposedly, when you go through stress, when you go through really hardship times, that feeds cancer cells, that feeds the bad cells in your body. And because of all those years added up from childhood, I literally made myself sick. So that's why it's so important to be happy and have a good mindset, because you can literally make yourself sick. And so that's what I want to teach people. That's my story so far. And it's going to continue. Oh, it will. My life is never like, I feel like there's something always happening. Everyone, even my family is like, oh, that's Jessica's luck. Jessica's luck. There's always something happening, but it does make life pretty amusing. So I guess that's a positive, right? So anyways, that is my story so far, and I would love to do another video continuing this story, because I'm sure this year is going to be another crazy one. But that's why I'm motivated, and I do modeling full time. I am entrepreneur in every aspect in life. I've never had a normal job, honestly. I've always done my own thing. I've had my own clothing line. I had my clothing store at one time. I do a lot of online marketing. I build Instagrams. I do a lot of promotion for different companies. I do modeling. And now I'm growing the CBD business, which is very amazing. It is nationwide and it's growing fast. And that's where I'm at. And on top of that, I'm trying to inspire others and teach others and be there for others and grow my YouTube channel, because I did have one in the past for dating advice. I was like a dating coach back in the day, but I closed out that account. So now I have a new account for YouTube, and I want everyone to learn my journey. So that's why I give advice on there too. So that is my bio, all wrapped up in 33 minutes, which is just funny because my favorite number is 33. That's why my Instagram name is JessieCakes33. So perfect timing. Thank you for watching. That was a lot, and at least that kind of gives you an explanation of kind of who I am now and why I'm so positive, why I'm always putting out the motivational quotes on a daily basis, because not only do I need it, I know you guys need it. I know everyone needs it, because we need team. We need to reach out to others. We need guidance sometimes, and I wish I had that. I wish I had that back then. So now I try to do what I didn't have, and I try to give it to others, because that's the more I give and the more I help others, the more I feel so much more control of how I couldn't fix my past. So maybe I can fix someone else's future, and that makes me feel amazing. So take me as a lesson. Get your pap smear, self-love, don't marry someone stupid, and to say the least, and be safe. Take care of yourself, you guys. Health is key, and I will shut it down now. Okay, thank you.